Welcome back to Spirit of Life. I'm David McLauchlan, and my guest is Sister Rachel Fleurant from the Missionaries of Gods Love. Welcome back to the program, Rachel.
Thank you, David.
Now, we were talking about the effect of World Youth Day and the increase in vocations over the last 10 or 20 years.
Yes.
Did you go to World Youth Day last year, and what was your experience of it like?
I did go to World Youth Day last year, the one in Sydney, but I might actually speak about my experience with the World Youth Day in Canada, which was 2002. That's where I actually felt the sense of a call to religious life, so I'll just share about that. Basically, for me, seeing a million other young people coming together and sharing the Catholic faith was a real eye-opener for me. I realised how big the church is, how universal it is. I used to think I was just a small little person in my little parish youth group. But for me, what really struck me was the message of Pope John Paul II, which was about really discovering the path that God has for my life and for each and every young person's life, and that the world really needs us to transform and to... The theme was about the salt and the light of the earth, so it was really about the world needs you, young people, to bring about a better hope and a better future for, to build a new civilization of hope in our world. So for me, that's where I really heard the call of, you know, I really needed to seek the path that God was calling me to, and that I saw young religious and young priests really joyful and really happy about living this way of life. So they gave witness to me, and that's where I started to question and have a sense of what is the great plan that God has for my life. And I remember coming back from World Youth Day and really thinking I had to take this seriously. And I started making a commitment to going to regular adoration, having a spiritual director accompany me to really listen to what God was saying. But I'd have to say that the World Youth Day has been instrumental in calling me to really seek that path and to really hear the message. The message was very powerfully given to us young people, that affirmation, that empowerment of the wonderful late Pope John Paul II.
So it sounds like that World Youth Day was a really turning point in your own spiritual journey. Can you tell us what other aspects of your spiritual journey have impacted greatly on you? I mean, tell us a bit more about your spiritual journey and where you came from and how you were attracted to the MTLs.
Sure. Well, for me, I've grown up in a Catholic family, and I guess it wasn't until about 1996 where I had a bit of a transformation in my own journey, and that was through encountering... I went to a Life in the Spirit seminar, and I was pretty much not very interested in my faith. I came to a turning point because I had just come out of a relationship, so I was on a bit of a downer, and somebody invited me to go to this prayer group, and it was there that I really heard the message of God's love, and I really heard the message of that God has a path and a plan for my life. And that's what really struck me, was that, you know, here I was living my life not in the way that God was really wanting me to live, and that there was somehow this real void in my heart, that I was really searching for a relationship to fulfill that void, that deep desire that I had. And so in that experience, I experienced God in a really profound, powerful way, His real love, and started to realize that here I could have this personal relationship with Him. And in carrying out this whole seminar, I realised too that He had a purpose for my life, and that I wanted to share this with other people, that I wanted to share this beautiful grace of His love to other young people like myself. So that was a real turning point, the Life in the Spirit seminar, and starting to read the Bible and deepening in the Scriptures and coming back to the sacramental life of the Church. That was some of the key areas in my own spiritual life, so coming back to the sacrament of reconciliation and going to regular Mass, receiving the Eucharist, to strengthen and to listen to what God was saying in terms of being strengthened in my faith and my spirituality. So there are a few key things that has nourished my spiritual life, and also I guess just my deep love for the church and wanting to find out more about the church that I belong to, asking questions, searching, reading, a lot of spiritual reading on the great saints of the church, and discovering more of who I am and my identity through God's ways.
Has there been any particular saint or person in the church that has influenced you and been an example to you?
Yes, I have a great love for Mother Teresa, Blessed Mother Teresa. And for me, I love, and I find her really inspiring because her message is very simple. She has a few quotes and sayings that are very simple but that have really struck and stuck with me. Simple things like, everything you do it unto me. So every action, every person I encounter, that I'm encountering Christ through the other person. A simple thing as a smile can bring great joy to somebody else's life, that they can really experience their dignity and worth in that, treating them as if, you know, with that real love and that deep reverence. And also ministering to the poorest of the poor. Mother Teresa's great work was about bringing peace, reconciliation, and that she broke down so many of the divisions that were seen in the world and in the places where she ministered to. And so I think for me, I see her humility and her example as a real heroic witness of what it really means to be a Christian and what it really means to express this love of God through actions.
Are there other female religious figures that you've been attracted by their example?
Well, I think another one's Blessed Mary MacKillop, and because she's our own Australian saint, some of the things that have really struck me about her is just her amazing courage as a woman and as a radical woman of her time and of her century, of her period. And she was very big on education, so helping those who were less fortunate than others to have this education system and a religious education system for Australia, because even during that time it was very, I guess, secular, and also it was a time where it was very difficult for children who were disadvantaged to have a good education system. So there's some of the things that really strike me about her, and her saying that never see a need without doing something about it, without responding to the needs of the times and the situations that are at hand. So I guess for me, that really applies to the contemporary society I'm living in now, like never see a need in our world and not respond or take some form of action to bring about justice and peace, and to bring that love of God into every situation.
On that note, we have to go for another short break. Okay. You're watching Spirit of Life. Join us again in a minute.